Good evening, everyone. Am I clearly visible and audible to all of you? Make use of the chat box. You will not be able to unmute yourself. So please make use of the chat box. Am I clearly visible and audible to all of you? Yes, finally somebody responded. So this is a writing course. Welcome to the content writing workshop with Henry Havin Education. My name is Vandana and I will be taking you through this 1 hour webinar or workshop, and we will learn about content writing. We will learn about content writing and the basics, and how you make your content readable, how you make content searchable, and all of that. So I will be taking you through this 1 hour course. I would request everyone, before we start, we will start sharp at 6:30. So before we start, I would request everyone to make use of the chat box and write your introduction. Who are you? What you have been doing? And why content writing? Why do you want to learn content writing? Who are you? What you have been doing? What you do presently? And why content writing? So someone says, big fan of your teaching. Thank you. Right. So yes, thank you so much, Prasanna. So somebody, I think, who has already attended a course with me is also here, so that they fear that I should teach. I suppose not to not teach something new that I have not taught already. So yes, I see a few participants who are joining the workshops repeatedly. So thank you for your love and thank you for being here. But before we start, let's just get to know each other. I would request everyone to make use of the chat box and write who you are, what you have been doing, what you presently do, and why content writing. Meanwhile, I will introduce myself. Well, by discipline, I'm an HR professional, a soft skills trainer, a content writer, and a digital marketer. I have been working in the corporate world for past 22 years. Over these years, I have worked with industries like credit management, retail, education, and telecom. For a short period of time, I worked with Delhi University, delivering some soft skills training. I have been delivering soft skills training for past 10 years in writing skills, which is like content writing, creative writing, digital marketing, and all of that. So I delivered my first training for soft skill, which is communication skills, and that since then there has not been any looking back. Okay, so that is about me. If you wish to know more about me, you can simply Google my name. You Google my name, Vandana Saxena, and you will get to know more about me. Okay, so yes, let me just start to take the introduction. My name is Badusha. If I am pronouncing it, forgive me if I am pronouncing it wrong. I have studied uh, at visual communication and I love writing. Wonderful. Okay, so we have Aarti Jalota. Okay, Aparna Verma, Bangalore homemaker, interested in writing, engineering, and experience. Wonderful. Okay, so why do you want to learn? Why do you want to learn writing? You should not see anything that you are interested in is something that you will or you may or may not do. But if it is you are passionate about something, that is what I have learned all through my life. If you're passionate about something, definitely it will take you forward. So why writing? And I'm an IT graduate. I understand, Mohammed, but why do you want to learn content writing? Why content writing for you? So I understand. Okay. I studied MPhil in English literature and working as assistant professor right now. I want to start learning to write and become a content writer. Wonderful. Okay, so you want to become a content writer. So yes, content is the upcoming concept, or it is more like an established industry. When I learned content writing, it was an upcoming concept. Now it is an established industry, especially after the at the onset of the pandemic, everything moved to digital. So what do you market? I think do we have any digital marketers in the house who want to understand what content is all about? So I would request everyone to please keep yourself on mute so that there are no background noises. You can make consistent use of the chat box. In the entire course, you will have to make consistent use of the chat box because this is a writing course and this is a writing webinar. If you don't write, you will not become a writer. So what makes you a writer is writing, not any tools. I will be telling you a lot of tools during this webinar, plus we also share a lot of tools, but let me just tell you, content is not about tools. Content is more about writing, creating. So as long as you are creating wonderful content, you succeed. Okay, so it takes content to be successful, to be a successful content writer. So we'll start sharp at 6:30, which is 2 minutes from now. So I will take up a few introductions until then. I am Aarti Jalota Soni, a woman entrepreneur. Need to enhance my communication skills. Wonderful. Okay, and through content, wonderful. Okay, I'm a homemaker. I love writing. I have scribbled lots of my travel experiences. I want to be a professional content writer, hence want to do this course now. So those who are here, you should mark your attendance. There is a link in the chat box. You can access the link. It is a Google spreadsheet. You can just mark your attendance there for for the institute to register. And please, yes, any more introductions out there? So we'll start exactly in 2 minutes. So you're free to ask as many questions as you wish, because the second step towards learning is to ask questions. What is the first step towards learning? I will ask you midway somewhere, think about it. You know, the second step towards learning is to ask as many questions as you want to. So you're free to ask any question that you are want to, plus you will be required to make use of chat box consistently, because you will be posting a lot of answers. I will be asking you a lot of questions and you will be posting a lot of answers. But but if you have any doubts, if you wish to know something, if you have not understood any concept, you are free to ask as many questions in the chat box as well. Do not unmute yourself, because I've muted everyone and you will not be able to unmute yourself, because at times it is distracting if suddenly. Yes, Roshmi, you can make use of the chat box, please. And if you have any questions, definitely, I understand you have raised your hand. You can make use of that chat box. How much content can impact a product to sell? It's not about how much content, it is about what quality of content, right? So Mamta is saying good evening, everyone. So let's just start. Only one. Okay, so it's already 6:30. So I would want you to tell me, I will ask you a few questions during the course, and what you have to do is that you have to make consistent use of the chat box while while I'm asking you questions. So what is content according to you? What do you mean by content? I'll just start to share the screen. Perhaps I think accidentally the screen share has stopped. I'll just start to share the screen. Yes. So I will be, you're free to take your notes if you want to. So what is content according to you? Get to the chat boxes, everyone. What do you think is content? Well, I have a great typing speed, so definitely you will be able to see. All of you are able to see the screen. Make use of the chat box, please. All of you are able to see the screen. What is content according to you? Info around the topic. Information. Wonderful. Info. So as content writer, there is a first rule. Do not write information. I mean, how much seconds will it take to write information? Info around the topic. Information. So as content writers, write it, speak it right, write it right, pronounce it right. That is one rule to become a writer. Information. Right. What else? So when you're reading a blog, how to protect your parents, how to protect your children during the pandemic or during the winters, what are you reading? Information? That's not information. You are reading an article, how to create a web page. That is information. Or how content industry has evolved over a period of time. That is information. But if you're reading a blog, that how to take care of your children during the pandemic, or how to take care of your children, or how I lost 25 kgs in 3 weeks. I wish I could, right? So how I lost 25 kgs in 3 weeks. What are you reading? Are you reading information? No, you are not. Then that's also content. So somebody is saying elaborate description of the title. Okay, description is fine. Okay, useful data as per your requirement. That is information. When you are talking about data, that is information. Somebody says knowledge. So knowledge is when you are reading a textbook. So knowledge is what this content that I am writing for you is knowledge. It's not information. I am sharing my knowledge. I am sharing my expertise with you, right? So content is information. Content is knowledge. What else? So when I say that I am writing a parenting blog, how to take care or how I took care of my children during the pandemic, experiential info, suggestion, pros, cons around the topic. So it is experience. Somebody said experience. Wonderful. Material related to the topic. What is material? Material is, you have for fabrics. So material is an abstract word. So experience. You're reading a story. What are you reading? Are you not reading my imagination whenever you are reading a story? Are you not reading my creativity? You're reading my creativity. So content is anything between information, knowledge, experience, and creativity, right? So the first thing that you have to decide, so these four are the purpose of your content, why you are creating content. Are you sharing information? Are you sharing knowledge? Are you sharing experience? Are you sharing creativity? What you are sharing? Right, so these four decide the purpose of your content. So if you're writing any kind of academic content, you are sharing knowledge. You are writing any articles, you are sharing information. You are writing any blog, you are sharing experience. You are writing journals, you are writing memoirs, you are sharing your experience. So anybody who has read James Frey, A Million Little Pieces, this is I'm giving it in the chat box. This is called A Million Little Pieces by James Frey. So this is completely based on his memoirs. I'm giving it in the chat box. You should read it because this indeed is a wonderful read, right? So A Million Little Pieces by James Frey. It's creativity with experience. So you can have one primary objective for your content and one secondary objective for your content, but you cannot have all the four objectives in one content, because the first thing that you need, what are the requisites of content writing? The first thing that you need for writing content is purpose, and purpose can be any of these four. That's the first thing. So once you have decided, or once you have decided your purpose, that what you're going to share, what is the next thing that you decide for writing content? So requisites of content writing. Let's just understand the requisites of content. What is the next thing that you decide? What is the next thing? You have decided your purpose, that this is what you want to share.
Information.
Information, okay, right. So when I talk about purpose, it's okay, information is your purpose only, no? But then what is the next thing? Now let me just give you an example. If you're writing a parenting blog, who's going to read it?
The target audience.
The target audience. You're writing a parenting blog, who's going to read it? Who's going to read it? Who's your target audience?
Parents.
Parents. So I would I would request you to please make use of the chat box. Let me just okay, all right. So I would request you to please make use of the chat box so that we do not have any distractions here. So when you're writing a parenting blog, parents are going to read it. You're writing a beauty blog, how to take care of your skin during winters. Who's going to read it? Who's going to read it? You're writing a blog, how to take care of your skin. Ladies, why? Girls and ladies, why men do not want to take care of their skin? Men don't want to take care of their skin. They don't want to. I would ask the men in the house, do you not want to take? Yes, of course. So one thing, no, it's not little bit. No, it is not. Anyone interested in skincare. And let me tell you, gone are the days when content was gender centric. So what you have to create content is gender neutral. Men also want to take care of their skin, definitely. So it's not something that you should, yeah, so both men and women will want to take care of the skin, even the teenagers. So you have to decide your target audience whenever you are how to decide your target audience. Whenever you are deciding your target audience, ensure that you are gender neutral. You shouldn't be gender centric, because content that works in the digital world is gender neutral and not gender centric. So if you try to become gender centric, or you want to write only for women, or you want to write only for men, you will lose half of the target audience. So that's not a great idea to do. Okay, so that's what you call target audience. So once you have your target audience, once you have your purpose, what do you want to do? You want to communicate with them. What is communication? What is communication? Communicate, central idea. No, what is communication? I'm saying something and you're listening to me. Support with facts. No, I am saying something and you're listening to me. Is that communication? Conversation. No, that's not communication. So I have written this sentence. The father adopted the boy and he was happy. Who is happy? Can you tell me? Get to the chat boxes. Who is happy? Father. Okay. The father. Okay. Okay. Can it not be boy who's happy? What does he stand for? Can it not be the boy who is happy? The father adopted the boy and he was happy. Can it not be the boy who's happy? Can it be father and boys both? What does he stand for here? Both, right? It could be boy too. So this is called ambiguity in content. This is called ambiguity in content. Your sentence is ambiguous. Communication is what I intend to say. The audience should be able to understand exactly what I want to say, right? It shouldn't be there should not be any ambiguity in the sentences. It has to be, what I intend to say should be understood by the audience exactly the way I wish to convey it. There should not be any ambiguity. So when I am talking to you or when I am saying something, you still have an option to ask me questions, right? So you have the option to ask me any questions. Yes, indeed, Mamta. So you still have an option to ask me questions, but when you're reading something, you don't have that option. So if your content is not communicating with the audience, they leave it. How many of you do this, that you read the headline, you read the introduction, you read the subheads, and you read the conclusion, you leave the content to read? How many of you do that? How many of you do that? I think a lot of us, almost all the time. Why? Because most of the time the content is not communicating with you. You don't want to do that because that the content doesn't communicate with you well. So that is where the problem is. So how will you write these two sentences if you wish to communicate? So the next sentence is that you must remove all the Tupperware from kitchen and clean it often. Maybe you are writing an article that how to keep your kitchen pest free, and you are using this line in your article. So if I read this, you must remove all the Tupperware from the kitchen and clean it often. Now, what should I clean, the Tupperware or the kitchen? Tell me, what does it stand for? Not clear. This is called ambiguity in sentence. Both. No, I have not made it clear. So the problem is that if you write ambiguous content, you will not be able to communicate with your audience. So communication is indeed important. So how will you write this? The father adopted the boy. Let's just make some correction. And the father was happy, right? So this is fine. Is there any ambiguity here? I guess not. And the father was happy. And I say must remove and clean all the Tupperware from the kitchen often. So I have used less words and I have made it clear. Both the sentences are clear? I guess yes. Both the sentences are clear? Yes, these are now clear. But now look at this. I remove certain words and add something else. The father adopted the boy and the father, instead of was, how about if we put felt here? The father felt happy. So happiness is what? A feeling. So when you use felt here, are you not better expressing your idea? Are you not better expressing? Indeed. So one content writing hack is replace transition words. So transition words are is, are, am, was, were, has, have, and with concrete verbs. So this is one content writing hack that you should use. Remove was, is, are, am, and use concrete verbs instead. It makes your content become, really, really powerful. You must remove and clean all the Tupperware from kitchen often to keep it pest free. Which sounds better? The first one or the second one? So it is not about the number of words. It is not about the number of content or the quantity of content. It is about the clarity in content, right? So that's something that you have to always take care, that you have to be clear with your ideas. That is one thing. So content to communicate, there are two things that needs readability. So readability comes with the language skills, and there is something called searchability, that you have to, how do you make your content searchable? So that is about searchability, that we will discuss in the next segment, or maybe, after 7 o'clock, once we do with the readability. So to make your content readable, you should ensure that your content is grammar. There are no grammatical errors in your content, right? The The first thing is that you have to have a grasp over the language. You should know the spelling well. You should pronounce it right. So pronounce it right. If you're not pronouncing it right, you will write it wrong, right? So how do you spell out arithmetic? Get to the chat boxes, everyone. How do you spell out arithmetic? Get to the press, get to the chat box. Okay, get to the chat box. How do you spell out vacuum? Vacuum. How do you spell out withdrawal? How do you spell out withdrawal? Separate. Triparna, you can post your question in the chat box, please. Separate. Okay. And how do you spell out liaison? Okay, so most of the words are written wrong because most of you have written it wrong. So because, there's a problem that you pronounce it wrong. So there is a tool called dictionary.com. You can download this application on your mobile phones, on your laptops, anywhere that you want to. There is an option for you as well. So this will also help you, improve your vocabulary. You can just go here in the end, write your email, and there will be one word of the day which will arrive in your email box. So in a day you will receive, or in a month you will receive 30 words, but you will only be able to remember 1 or 2 of them. However, at the end of the year, your vocabulary will be richer by 20 words or maybe 24 words, right? Or maybe 30 words. So that's one thing that you have to do, right? So vacuum is spelled this way. It's never double C because we pronounce it as vacuum. So we write double C, which is wrong. So vacuum is spelled this way. Withdrawal, it is not withdrawal, it is withdrawal. So withdrawal is spelled this way. So we normally miss the second A because we pronounce it as withdrawal, which is wrong, right? So there is a lot of people pronounce it as epitome. This is epitome, right? This is pronounced as epitome. And if you talk about liaison, so liaison is pronounced this way or this way, which way? So somebody tried to, how do you pronounce the word liaison? So liaison is pronounced this way. It's not liaison because we write or we pronounce it as liaison. We write it wrong. So one rule to become a writer is that you have to pronounce every word right. If you are pronouncing content as content, it means happiness. It means satisfaction. Right. So if you go to your client and you tell them that I am a content writer, they will feel or they will realize that you are already a happy writer and the assignment doesn't come to you. Okay, so if you're a freelancer, ensure that you're pronouncing every word right, because as content writers, your credibility lies in the way you pronounce the language. Have a grasp on the language. Use this tool called dictionary.com. It has pronunciation. So this is liaison. It's not liaison. This is called liaison. So when we pronounce it as liaison, we write it wrong. That is one thing that you have to always keep in mind, that pronounce every word right. Learn, because if you do not learn, it will become difficult for you to write. So this is what you need to do. You need to decide your purpose. You need to decide your target audience, and then readability come with the grammatical errors like, I will take up a few. The subject verb agreement that you need to ensure that you write it correct. So this is called, I give you a sentence that, okay, Meera me or I in the blank. The first sentence, me or I in the blank. Why it is I? Okay, correct. Wonderful. Right? Why it is I? Why it has to be I in the first sentence? I agree it is I, but why? How many of you know the rule? As content writers, you should know all the language rules. why it has to be I, and why not? No, this is not nothing to do with proper nouns. No. So proper noun is something else. It has nothing to do with why it has to be I. What is there in the second sentence? Me or I? Rabbit chased Dash and Meera to the bushes. Me or I? In the second sentence. Me. Why? Okay, let me just tell you the rule. So if you remove Meera, will you write me chased the rabbit? No, it will always be Meera and I chased the rabbit. When you use it as, when you use it as subject, it will always be I. So if you get confused, just remove the other subject. So when you use it at the place of subject in a sentence, you will use I and not me. But here the rabbit is subject. So rabbit chased I to the bushes will never be possible. So it will chase me. So when you use object, me will always be at the place of object. That is one thing that you have to keep in. A few people get confused with this, which is a common grammatical error. So when it comes to subject, it has to be here, right? Now coming on to the next one. So the teacher made it more clearer to me. And I say that my hair looks shinier and brighter. Are these two sentences grammatically right? Yes or no? Get to the chat boxes. If not, what is so wrong? What is there in the first sentence? The teacher made it more clearer to me. What is so wrong here? More clearer is wrong because these are two or dual comparison. These are two comparative degrees which are, it has to be only clearer. These are a few things that you have to keep in mind. My hair looks shinier and brighter. Is this right? Get to the chat box. I don't think so. There is anything wrong grammatical. No. What is wrong in it? So somebody only clearer. No, this is not. I'm asking for the second sentence. My hair looks shinier and brighter. So is this clear? Is this clear? Seems fine. Shiner, no. When you are using the comparative degree, this is one mistake every writer does. Whenever you are more shiny and bright, no, it has to be shinier and brighter. Shinier seems common. No, that's not something. So my hair looks shinier and brighter than what? So when you are using the comparative degree, you need to use than. Right? That is one mistake a lot of writers have done in the past, but I think you shouldn't be doing it. So my hair looks shinier and brighter than what? That's something that you have to keep in mind. Coming on to, whenever you are using the comparative degree, always use than. Coming on to the next thing, let's just understand some comma rules. So I ask you, my parents, Meera and Rajiv, came to see me. Let's just understand a bit about punctuations. And my parents, pay attention to the comma. Meera and Rajiv came to see me. Which sentence is correct? Where should I place the comma? Should I place this comma before and should I not place this comma before and? After parents, first sentence, first is correct, second is correct. First sentence correct, second is correct. Okay, so fine. Okay, first sentence is correct, second is not correct. No comma after Meera, why not? Okay, let me just tell you. Have you heard about Oxford comma? Anybody who has heard about Oxford comma? No, both the sentences are grammatically correct. There is nothing wrong in it. So in this sentence, there are two people who are Meera and Rajiv. So if you are using this comma, that means Meera and Rajiv are your parents. But if you are using this comma, that means this sentence has four people. That means your parents, which you have not named or defined, Meera and Rajiv. This comma is called the Oxford comma, which means the serial comma. So if you write, I will give you another example. If you write, I had breakfast, juice and sandwich. This means you had juice and sandwich for breakfast, right? But if I use this comma, this becomes a serial comma. That means you have not defined your breakfast. You had something for breakfast, maybe idli or maybe whatever, maybe parantha or whatever. And you had, along with the breakfast, you had juice and sandwich. Clear about the Oxford comma? Right? Yes, both are right this way. So somebody raise the hand. You don't have your name here. You can post your question in the chat box. So yes, you can post your question in the chat box, please. Those who have raised the hand, you can post your question in the chat box. So there are, this is called the Oxford comma. So whenever you say that I went to, or I have seen some serene beaches, you let's say Goa and maybe Kerala, right? These are the two beaches. That means these are the two places where you have seen the beaches. But if you put this comma, that means you have seen some serene beaches plus Goa plus Kerala. So this is how the Oxford comma makes a lot of difference. This is called the Oxford comma. Other than this, you should use a comma before, I will tell you some comma rules. You should use a comma before a compound sentence. How many of you know what is a simple sentence? What is a compound sentence? So a compound sentence is one where you have two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. Right? Two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. So a simple sentence is, I love my daughter and she loves me too. Right? So if I have to join this sentence, I will, I love my daughter. I love my daughter and she loves me too. So these are two independent clauses which are joined by a coordinating conjunctions and. So a coordinating conjunction is called and. So before the and, you will put a comma to separate the two clauses. So the coordinating conjunctions are these: fanboys. Anybody who has heard of fanboys? Anybody who has heard of fanboys? This is for, this is and, this is nor or neither, whatever. This is called but, this is called or, this is called yet, and so. So I have written so with capital letters and rest of them with small letters. Why? Anybody who can answer? I have written so with capital letter and rest of it with small letters. Why? Because you never start a sentence with a coordinating conjunction. Never ever start a sentence with and, but, for, nor. You can start a sentence with neither but not nor. You can start a sentence with either but not or. You can start a sentence with though but not yet. Please do not start your, in content, industry, there are certain rules that every content writer should follow. So never start a sentence with a coordinating conjunction. No, it's not a great idea. Your clause will not be complete in that sense. Okay. So you can start a sentence with so, but so is always used in informal writing, in creative form of writing. Normally in content writing, we use however, hence, therefore. These are the better words to use. Now let's just understand a bit about, these are a few language skills that you have learned. Okay, now because is a subordinating conjunction. Let me tell you, because is not a coordinating conjunction. There are certain subordinating conjunctions that we use in the complex sentences, right? So, let's see, I was late to the class because it was raining, right? And because becomes a subordinating conjunction because this is used in a complex sentence. A complex sentence is one which has one independent clause and one dependent clause. I was late to the class is independent clause. Why I was late to the class is the dependent clause. And you use a subordinating conjunction like because, hence, since, all of these, they will be used as subordinating conjunction in complex sentences. You can start a sentence with since, but we never start a sentence with because. That's not a great idea to do. Coming on to the next part, let's just understand some power writing rules. So power writing rules are, I'll just give you one example. In my personal opinion, this wasteful policy is ought to be revoked. Right? Anybody who says that this sentence is grammatically wrong, this is not grammatically wrong, make use of the chat box. This is ought to be revoked. Okay, is ought to be revoked. Ought to be revoked. Wonderful. Okay, somebody came up with this. Is it not required? Ought to be revoked. Okay. So opinion, do you have, is opinion not personal? Is opinion not personal? You do not need this word personal because this is called a redundant phrase. There are other redundant phrases like free gift. Gift comes for a cost. Armed gunman. Gunman is not armed. Mix together. Do you mix separately? You don't. Meet with each other. Do you meet separately? Right? Added bonus. This is a redundant phrase. Do not write added bonus. So in my opinion, this wasteful policy ought to be revoked. So what do you mean? So if I have to write it this way, I suggest revoke this wasteful policy. What is more powerful? The first one or the second one? The first one or the second one? The second one. So power writing. So you say register here. And supposedly you are writing or promoting something. Register now. What is more powerful? Add to cart. And you write buy now. What's more powerful? Now is a power word. You write no more. And you write learn more. What's more powerful? Instead of no, you should use learn. Right? So learn more. Yes. What's more powerful? So power writing is more about this. So power writing is something when you add power to simple sentences. So if I say she was walking slowly in the garden, somebody talked about fiction. So see, she was walking slowly in the garden, and I write she was strolling in the garden, or maybe I write ambling in the garden. What's more powerful? Strolling or ambling or whatever. Yes. So she is a very good writer, and I say she is an excellent writer. What's more powerful? Excellent, right? So do not use words like, do not use adverbs. Delete the adverbs and use concrete verbs instead in your writing, right? Delete the words like very, absolutely, suddenly. They are not great words to attend. No. Okay. So just really all of these words. So you say that, I have been really waiting for this workshop, and you say that I have been looking forward to this workshop. What makes more sense to you? What gives a better feeling? Looking forward. Do not use words like absolutely, just, suddenly, really. No, not a great idea. Never do that, right? So that's something that you should always do. Remove the words like very, absolutely, suddenly. There is one word for every very, very, very loud, deafening, very good, excellent, eagerly waiting instead. No, you have been looking what? Why would you use adverbs if you're writing? So using adverbs. So Stephen King says that the road to hell was paved by adverbs. So if you're using adverbs in your content, it means you are short of words. If you're using words like very, absolutely, suddenly, it means you're short of words. Your vocabulary is poor, and that goes against you as a content writer. So try to use, you do not have to become Shashi Tharoor. You do not have to find the most difficult word from the thesaurus and use it here. No, you have to write in simple English, but do not use any word which is, these are called the fluff words. They only add weight to your writing. They do not add any any sense, or what you say, any value to your writing, but they only add weight. Words like very good and you use excellent, it will add sense to your writing. Yes, it's not attractive, so don't write such as any such words. But you know, it makes you a substandard content writer. You produce the content that you produce by using these words or adverbs or something will be taken as will be considered as substandard quality of content. Coming on to the searchability, I think we can go on and on the language skills. And okay, before that, let me just misunderstood phrases. We will talk about misunderstood phrases first. That what are the misunderstood words and phrases? So if I have to say that I compliment my meals with, or I compliment my meals with salads and juices, which compliment, I or E? Tell me, get to the chat box, I or E? Y-E. Okay, Y-E. Okay, and I say that, you know, pen, paper, copy, book is stationery. Which one? Stationery. How do you spell stationery? Okay. How do you write first come, first serve? Okay. So compliment, there are two things. So that has come from compliment. This has come from complete. So when you say that, you know, I compliment my meals with salad and juices, it means you complete your meal. So this one will always be compliment with E, but this compliment with I, it would mean that you are trying to praise someone. You are giving a compliment to someone. Okay. The second thing is that I asked was stationery. The stationery that you spell with E becomes pen, paper, pencil, or stationery with A becomes anything which is station, which is still. Okay, so you work out on a stationary A bike, and you know, you buy stationery from a bookshop. Okay, so stationery means stall. Yes, yes, wonderful. So now I want all of you to write some phrases for me. First come and first serve. Get to the chat boxes. Unique selling proposition. Everyone get to the chat boxes. First come, first serve. Unique selling proposition. How do you write? Beck and call. Okay. Yes. So, okay, let me just tell you. So when you say first come, first serve, it means the one who comes first will serve. Do you intend to say this? Is this the meaning of this phrase? Is this the meaning of this phrase? The one who comes first will serve? No, this is wrong. This is first come and first serve. So this means the one who comes first will be served first. This is the right phrase. Know it. So somebody said USP. I asked somebody what is USP, and they said that unique selling proposition. And I asked them to write, and they wrote it like this way: unique selling proposition. Is this right? Get to the chat box, everyone. Get to the chat box, everyone. Is this right? Unique selling proposition. If you want the PPT for the webinar, you need to fill in the Google form, please. It is there in the chat box. Unique selling proposition. It is written as proposition. It has come from propose. What exactly you propose to sell, which is unique in your product or service, it is called proposition and not preposition. Now coming on to the search, yeah, so you should know the phrases before you're using them. Do not write them just without knowing them, because they might change the meaning of your sentence as well. So there are other rules. There are comma rules. There is semicolon rules. A comma makes a lot of difference in your writing. You know, if you're not putting the comma right, it will change the meaning of your sentence, especially the Oxford comma. So I think you've learned about the Oxford comma. Coming on to the next one, let's just understand about the searchability of your content. So when you are typing, or when you are, no, not typing, when you are reading on internet, what is the first thing that grabs your attention? Why do you click a content to read? What is the first thing that you read to click a content? What is the first thing that you read? Keyword, title, keyword to bahut dur ki baat hai. For reading, you need the keyword? No, catchy title, catchy Catchy title, yes. Catchy headline. That is one thing that you need, right? So you need the catchy headline. So how much time do you spend reading the headline? 2 to 3 seconds, perhaps, right? 10 seconds is too much. 2 to 3 seconds. So precisely, you have 2 to 3 seconds to grab your reader's attention. Why? Because if you are spending 2 to 3 seconds, every user on internet is like you. Don't think when you are writing content, everybody will read it word by word. No, every user, assess how you are reading content on internet. Every user will read it like that only. Every user is like you, or maybe worse than you, right? So when you are writing content, ensure that you are writing a catchy headline. What makes a headline catchy? Get to the chat box. So if you have to write an article about 5 health benefits of yoga, right? Or maybe health, I'm giving you a topic, health benefits of yoga. What will be the headline that you will write? Get to the chat boxes, everyone. Health benefits of yoga. What will be the headline for your, supposedly as content writer, you are writing this article. How will you use this, or how will you put it? How will you use, which headline will you use here? Get fit with yoga, amazing yoga benefits. So there is a headline analyzer with CoSchedule. I use there are many headline analyzers. So there is one that I use with CoSchedule. So you can also use it. Okay. So somebody said that health benefits. So your headline, when it ranks yoga for weight loss, yoga, the magical way of staying fit, all of that. So when you, whenever you write a headline, just you can analyze it on CoSchedule's headline analyzer. The score, it will score your headline on a rate of 1 to 100. Closer to 100, the better. Okay. So somebody said yoga. Okay, health benefits of yoga. So let's just see how much it ranks. Health benefits of yoga. Let me just see how much it ranks, where it ranks. 54. Okay, so let's just try another one. Okay, so this is okay, let me just, I don't want to upgrade. I want to reanalyze. Somebody says amazing benefits of yoga. Amazing benefits of yoga. Somebody wrote this one. Okay, so let me just analyze how much it is scoring at. Again, 54, but you need to be closer to 100. So how many of you know the benefits, amazing benefits of yoga? If I ask you this question, do you know these amazing benefits of yoga? Do you know these amazing benefits of yoga? That will change. Yeah, you know, everybody knows. I think it will remove, it will improve the flexibility. It will help you make your immune system better. It will help you in the respiratory issues. You know these amazing benefits of yoga. But if I write five amazing benefits of yoga for a happy life, do you know these? 84. You used a headline, amazing benefits of yoga. I used a number, I used happy, and I used life. 3 words I just used, and it has reached 84, right? A better you with yoga. Okay, let's just take this one. A better you with yoga. So let's just reanalyze this one. Okay, 54. Okay. Right. Let's just write it this way. Sorry. This is, so let's just write it this way. Better. Okay. Healthier. Healthier and happier you with simple yoga. Let's just analyze this one. 60. Okay, simple yoga hacks. Let's just analyze this one. Oh, so yoga hacks is not working well. So you have to say with awesome yoga benefits. We will change it. So how does it score now? Let's just see. 65, getting better. So you can use now 5 reasons for a healthier and happier you with yoga. 5 awesome reasons. Now look at this. 82. So what you need to do in headline, be concrete. So when you're talking about health benefits of yoga, awesome reasons to do yoga, everybody knows this. But what the audience doesn't know is the awesome reasons for a healthier and happier you. This is called WIIFM factor in headline. WIIFM factor in headline. This means what's in it for me? Why should I read it? This is called what's in it for me? Why should I read it? So always add that factor. So if you're telling you 5 tools for every 5 must know tools for every content writer, everybody knows 5 tools. Every content writer, if you're writing an article that, these are the 5 must know tools for every content writer. Everybody knows it. Every content writer knows what are the 5 tools that you can use. Okay. But what the audience doesn't know the 5 amazing tools that can up your game in content writing. That can be a catchy headline. So that's something. Yes, you should use some power words. You should use some common words. Yes, you should use some emotional words. Emotional words are awesome, easy, happy, healthy. All of these are emotional words. The power words are reasoning. Any word that gives you a reason. The numbers are always the power words that you can use in your headline. So that is how you make your headline catchy. So quantitative, yes, indeed, it is. You are supposed to make it quantitative. You are supposed to make it clear, catchy, and that is how your content goes viral. Now coming on to the searchability. So everything on internet is, you go to Amazon, you find content, you find image, you find videos, and you find written content. You go to YouTube, you find videos. You go to Spotify, you find podcast. Now, can you tell me that if you have to find these content, can you find them without writing something? So there are 3 forms of content that we use in the digital form. One is audio, one is video, and the other one is the image, right? Now, if you have to find these 3 contents, can you find it without writing anything? If you have to make a Google search, can you do that? No. So video content, audio content, and image content must be supported by written content. So written content has no shelf life. So, but how to make it searchable? I want all of you to make some Google search. Go to Google and write Kangana Ranaut blog. Go to Google and write Kangana Ranaut blog. See, go to Google and write Kangana Ranaut blog. Whose content is showing up? Google is a search engine. What you get here is a search engine result page. This page is called the search engine result page, or SERP, right? This is called a keyword. A keyword which has, a keyword which has 2 to 3 words is called a short tail keyword. Now let's be a little precise here. So go here and write power writing rules, content industry swears by. Write this keyword. This is called a long tail keyword, which will give you more precise, more specific results for your search. So write this first thing which is coming up, power writing rules, content industry swears by. Go here and write. Go to Google and see whose content is coming up. Whose content is coming up? How many results you are getting? You are getting somewhere around, okay, I'm bad at numbers, so I have to count, maybe 30 crores or 3 crores or whatever. So this is my content which is ranking up on the first page of Google. How many of you go to the next page, third page, fourth page? Anybody who goes? Not really. So if your content is not coming up on the first page, it is lost in the digital world. This is what you call search engine optimization. So out of 3 crore results, what you are getting on top is my content. This is my article. Okay, another article which is trending on top this time. 4 basic writing styles to use in content writing. 4 power writing rules to use. 4 power writing rules content industry swears by. So you can read these articles. They are wonderful to read. So this is called search engine optimization. Now let me just give you another cool hacks to write a catchy headline. Go here. Type this in Google and see what you are finding here. Again, my content is ranking at number 2. right? So this content is ranking at number 2. Even if I have written a blog on Kangana Ranaut, I mean, you go to Kangana Ranaut blog, you will find my content on the top, right? So this is what you call search engine optimization. For search engine optimization, what you need to do is that you have to blend the keywords into your content. You have to see what is trending. There are too many tools. Like one I show is basic writing styles to use in content writing. This is called Google autocomplete. So whatever is trending on Google, Google will complete it automatically. This is called Google autocomplete. So this is trending. You can go here, write, search for basic writing styles to use in content writing. You get my content on the top, right? So how do you write these blogs? I'm a content writer, so I'm sure I can write these blogs easily. So for basic writing styles to use in content writing, this is again, so this is the first thing. Now types of content with example, types of content, these are the other trending keywords. This is called Google autocomplete. Pick up the first keyword, it is trending. Okay, the next thing is Google suggestions. So once you make a search, go to the end. So they will tell you what are other trending keywords. Choose a keyword. Okay, you can also go to keywords everywhere. Let me just show you. Go to keywords everywhere and install it for Chrome. If you're using Google Chrome, if you're using Firefox, you can install it for Firefox as well, right? And once you install it, it will on the right hand side show you what are the trending keywords. So you can zero in any keyword. Also, there is another tool called, Answer the Public, answerthepublic.com. So here it will tell you in which country people are searching what in a particular subject. So here you have to write a short tail keyword. You write content writing, search your country, like I'm in India. So I'll definitely search my country and make a search. And let's just see that what people are searching on Google in India. This is what people are searching on Google in India. Choose your keywords wisely. Choose your keywords, use them in headline, use them in first paragraph, sprinkle it well into your content, and then only write content. This is how you make your content searchable. If you are not blending the keywords well into your content, the content will not become searchable. That is the first way or the first step towards search engine optimization, right? So this is how you optimize your content. The other tools that I can let you know is Grammarly. You can, if you want to check your content, go to Grammarly, copy and paste your content, and it will give you some ideas of any grammar errors that you have made. However, these are not the only grammar errors. The grammar errors that we talk about in the detailed course are too much. You just go here. So this every email that I write, you can have a Grammarly extension on Chrome as well. Every email I write, I goes through this grammar check, right? So the overall score should be anywhere between 95 to 99. See the correctness, the clarity, the engagement, the delivery, everything is just right. Okay, do not write in passive voice, write in active voice. So what is easier for you to count, 1 to 100 or 100 to 1? Get to the chat box. What is easier for you to count, 1 to 100 or 100 to 1? 1 to 100, obviously, for everyone. So reading in active voice is always easy. Make your content easy to read. Make your content easy to understand. Do not use too heavy words. Do not use too much vocabulary. Do not use too many filler words or fluff words to make your content look heavy. Be crisp, clear, and catchy. Vary your sentence length. Perhaps this is the last thing that we are covering here, how to vary your sentence length. I'm just writing something for you and you have to tell me, do you want to read something like this? Okay, so here are 5 words to write. 5 more words I have added. Okay, let me just minimize the chat box. I want to write content in 5 words. Every sentence has 5 words. Are these any good to read? Seems like a stuck record. Writing is getting boring. Do you want to read something like this? Get to the chat boxes. Do you want to read something like this? No, this feels like a stuck record. Vary your sentence length. You can write a sentence in 1 word or 2 words. Content writing is a delightful job. I vary my sentences in terms of length. Power writing? No, you should write it this way. I vary the sentence length and engage well with the reader. Right? The reader, okay, I can just speak because if I type, it will be the reader enjoys reading my content and get glued until I have come to the conclusion. So conclusions are always important while writing content. You just, when you vary the sentence length, it becomes an engaging engaging content. So what you have to write is not the quantity, but the quality of the content really matters. So that's something called the engaging of content. Now, I would be glad if you have any questions or anything that you wish to ask. We have another 5-7 minutes to go, and I will be happy to take up any questions that you have. So yes, to be a writer, it is imperative that you read something every day, including the description on the bottle of your shampoo, because you never know what you might learn. You may learn some new style of writing, you may learn some new word. Read everything wherever you go. Read everything, right? And build a writer's perspective. Be observant, because writing needs ideas, so you have to be observant. Yes. So if ma'am, is there any specific software where we write content? We write content on Microsoft Word. You can use any of the Microsoft Office tools to write content. Yes, there is. So these are the requisites. We have covered almost the entire presentation without looking at it, but let me just get back to this. I will be glad if you have any questions. I will be glad to answer. Otherwise, we will start with what Henry Harvin was all about. So if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer all of them. So I hope, yeah. So let's just start with Henry Harvin. Henry Harvin was started in 2013, and it is based in San Francisco, California. It is a competency development organization offering focused learning solutions, okay, in varied fields. So we have already delivered more than instructor-led training to more than 30,000 learners, and a self-paced training to more than 2 lakh learners. We have somewhere around 80 plus courses. We have partnered with more than 150 corporates and more than 80 colleges across India. I have been delivering lectures for Henry Harvin Education for past 2 years. I have been taking classes for, or taking lectures for, or taking batches for content writing and creative writing, digital marketing, and most of the writing courses they have. Okay, ma'am, need to talk over phone. Each and every question I can't type here, but yes, want to be your student in your future. Definitely you can be. You can call 9015266266, or you can WhatsApp 9891953953. The numbers are there in the chat box. You can write to hello@henryharvin.com. How we can post these in Google so that everybody can read it? That is called search engine optimization. You can post this on Google through your website only. How to build a website, that we teach in the detailed content writing course. How to develop language skills for writing, as talking and writing both are different things. While giving content, I speak the way I write. I never use slang in my language. Even when I am writing a WhatsApp message, I ensure that I put the commas in place. I ensure that I put the full stop in place. I do not write letter U instead of YOU. That makes you a writer. Writing is not a skill that you can learn. You can learn it once, but unless you practice it, you will not be able to become a writer. So for that, you need to practice. You have to live as a writer. Whenever you are speaking to your friend, or you are sending, writing a comment on Facebook or Instagram, ensure that you are writing it correct. Have the Grammarly tool. Okay, technical writing, instructional design writing for e-learning, is it a part of content writing? Yes, indeed, it is a part of content writing, right? So we take 30 plus content forms in the detailed content writing course. However, if you want to have more information, more details, you can call 9015266266. I request the team to please post the contact information again. I'm already into content writing, but I want to enhance my skills by having a better understanding of SEO. Definitely, you should join the course. That's why I don't watch too many videos. One of the YouTuber said that content writer, you need 2 different laptop. No, I work on a normal laptop. You don't need any different laptops. I work on a basic laptop. I've been working in the content industry for past 5 years. But I have been working on a basic laptop. I don't think so that you need to, you need anything. Yes, you need the tools. You need to have Grammarly, you need to have some SEO tool, but then the basic laptop with a good internet service works well, So these are the program features that, this is a 36 hours of live training session, 12 boot camp sessions that you get monthly. And, there is an internship opportunity also after the completion of the course. The sole dependence on Grammarly tool can help in content writing? No, no, not at all. If everybody can depend on Grammarly and become a content writer, I would be redundant in this world. Then I am not required. You cannot depend on the tool and become a content writer, but it does help. But no, it is, you're better than a tool. You are a human and you have better understanding what a tool has. Okay. Does the content writing course cover SEO fundamentals? Yes, it does cover SEO fundamentals like meta tags, meta descriptions and everything. Yes, it does cover, right? On completing the program, no, you don't have to learn anything more if you wish to become a content writer. However, I mean, if you have a e-commerce website, you should learn about digital marketing as well. But then, yes, for content writing, you don't have to learn anything because we cover a lot of digital aspects also with it. Learn the requisites of content writing. You can apply the successful, to be successful, you can write the content writing techniques. I have given you one technique of power writing, but there are too many techniques that we teach in the detailed course. Okay, so these are the program details. There are these many things. There are a lot of modules. The program is divided into 36 hours. The new batch will start on 29th November and the 28th November. Those who want to join my batch, the 28th November batch is starting with me. Let me just tell you, it is an afternoon batch for the weekends. If you wish to join, it is starting with me. Okay, so if you want to talk, you should call 9015266266. I will still be glad to answer any questions. However, I request all of you to tell me if you have enjoyed the 1 hour of training session. Graphic card for that? No, you don't have. Can you give assignment during this course? No, I cannot give assignment during this course, but I give a lot of writing assignments during the detailed course. Okay, so yes, so okay, amazing talk. Thanks for valuable insights. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have informative. All right. Okay, so anybody who is, yes, I would love to have your feedback. Enjoyed and enlightened. Okay, great. Right. Ma'am, what is the tool you use today to rate the titles? Headline Analyzer by CoSchedule. You can also use it. Okay, so I hope, yes, didn't mention about narrative, persuasive, descriptive and expository writing style that we will discuss in the detailed writing course. There are writing styles that we will talk about. Okay, thank you. Not every workshop is the same, Prasanna. Every workshop is different. Thanks for this session. So thank you so much everyone to join in. If you wish to call, please call, wish to know more about the course, call 9015266266, or you can WhatsApp. Every information is there on your screen. If by chance you find my phone number on Google, please do not call me or try to text me. I will not be able to give you any information about the commercials. I will not be able to give you any information. So you need to call the numbers that are given. You cannot call me for the course details. Okay, so please, yeah, so for course related queries, you have to call 90. The numbers are there in the chat box. You can copy and paste it and keep it safe with yourself. But if you try to call me and ask me for the course details, I will not be able to help you. I will not be able to help you with the commercials. I will not be able to answer any of your queries regarding the course. Please call the number given. Please don't call me for that. Okay, you will not be able to get any answers. So please try to call 9015266266. So thank you everyone for joining in. It was indeed an interactive audience and I enjoyed thoroughly teaching all of you. So thank you.